And good day to all of you.
Wow, this was the best introduction to a Slugcast ever.
Basically. Welcome to a Slugcast for a
They love you now, Eric.
I don't know how long, when was the last Slugcast, but it's been a while. And this one in particular took way too long for us to plan together and sit down and do it.
Because of one thing.
You.
My dumb ass is in another country.
Yeah, but he's not here physically with us yet, but he is virtually with us. Welcome to the Slugcast, and we have a new guest.
Hello! Hi people.
This boy's name is Eric, but what should we call you? I mean, I'm still gonna call you Eric, but what's your gamer tag?
My gamer tag sucks ass.
I'm not calling you Eric YOLO. If anything, we can refer to you as Panda if you want to.
Please.
Okay.
I despise my gamer tag. I'm gonna refer to him as YOLO Cool. Oh my god, that's the worst!
Anyway, this is Eric. He's been a special guest in our Borderlands 2 playthrough in the Sagittarius Brother account, which will never be completed.
I am so sorry for that random comment. I'm so sorry.
Hold up, I want to shout, whatever. Anyway, today we're here talking about Marvel. I've kind of hinted that I was going to do this a while back, and we're finally doing it. Phase 4 is approaching. The fucking series technically ended, but they still want to keep going because money. So, I don't know. I don't know. I like to pretend that we're all Marvel fans, but I know Gene specifically is a huge Marvel fan. So, Gene, would you give us?
We're all Marvel fans in our own ways.
I can say I'm a big fan of the movies specifically. I've only read the Spider-Man comics, but Gene has told me an interesting history of his on his Marvel history.
Yeah, I don't read Marvel comics. I'm sorry.
Gene.
But let's start with our boy that is here today, Eric. YOLO Cool, start. Oh my god! That name! It hurts my face!
So Eric, your history with Marvel, if you have one?
I've read some comics in Marvel, most specifically Spider-Man comics, but I've mainly watched the movies ever since Iron Man 1 came out.
I'm kind of with you on that.
A young 10-year-old lad.
But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, with the exception of, you've probably seen the Sam Raimi trilogy at the same time. Like the Spider-Man trilogy by Sam Raimi.
Heck yes.
Definitely.
Best trilogy.
Better than fucking Andrew Garfield.
That is true.
Okay, alright, and my history is basically the same as Eric, so it's not really worth getting into. The most interesting one in the bunch is the Sagittarius Brother over there.
Alright guys, well my introduction to Marvel started when I was a teeny tiny little baby. I came out of the womb and my first word was Marvel.
Well fuck.
Aside from Star Wars and DC, Marvel has been part of my childhood ever since I was a teeny weeny little baby. So, it all started with the Sam Raimi trilogy. I have to say that Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man out of all the three. Obviously.
Oh, obviously.
There's going to be some comments.
Spider-Man 3 is my favorite.
I don't give a shit. Tobey's the best. But Spider-Man 3. Alright, whatever, anyways. So, once the MCU movies started, I always saw them as a treat. Iron Man 1, I loved it. Incredible Hulk, it was good. But
nope.
To me, the MCU didn't start until Avengers came out. It's the number 4th movie worldwide that has made a ton of money, and to me, it just didn't start without Avengers, because without the Avengers, Marvel wouldn't be where they would be today.
Definitely.
Yeah, the characters are one thing, but once you mix those characters together, I feel like you have something special there.
I definitely agree with you.
Also, the video games, and I also left one part out. There was this animated movie of Avengers that I loved. It was when I was a kid. It was called just The Avengers. And there was also an Avengers 2, which was with Black Panther, and it was animated, and I fucking loved that movie.
Would you say it's better than Age of Ultron?
Most likely. I mean, to me, basically anything animated tops anything CGI, because, yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's a good one.
I kind of agree with Gene here.
Okay, so now that we're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I initially had the idea that we would talk about the phases individually, but instead of doing that, why don't we talk about our favorite films from each phase? Starting with Phase 1.
If we talk about the phases, it's gonna take an hour. Yeah. All right.
With Phase 3 alone, it'll take an hour on that one alone. But yeah, so Phase 1. Who wants to go first?
Eric should start it off with everything. He's the newbie. He's the new guy, so he should start everything.
Okay. And then we'll save the best for last. The Sagittarius brother.
Me. Great. So for Phase 1, I really gotta start with the one that started it all, Iron Man 1.
Hey, spoilers. That's my favorite as well.
You just spoiled it yourself.
Okay, but continue.
Mine is actually different.
I knew yours is different.
In reality, I have a couple favorites from I have at least two favorites from
I can talk. Yeah, but talk about your favorite, my dear boy.
Well, yeah, it's Iron Man 1 was I remember being a 10-year-old kid, going to the theater and sitting there and be like, oh my god, this guy is freaking awesome!
Pretty much. That's how I definitely felt with Iron Man.
It's it's beautiful, I need more!
And then we got Iron Man 2.
Let's not speak about that.
Well, we wanted more. We were just that ungrateful.
That's true. And then, my second one's gotta be Avengers. Because without Avengers... Whoa. Enough talking a little bit here, boy. Favorite. And yeah, they're both my favorite.
It's like picking your favorite child, Gene. You wouldn't understand.
Exactly. Alright. That's like saying, who's my favorite student? Yeah, that's never gonna happen. That's you, Tommy. You're the best. Yeah, it's that's never gonna happen. So it's Avengers. Everyone fucking loves it. It's like a good Italian meatball.
Pretty much. Honestly, I can't really have much to add. For me, my favorite Phase 1 film is Iron Man 1. I would say Avengers is my second favorite, but I really, really look towards Iron Man 1 primarily. Mainly because of its tone and the character himself. I just found Tony to be such an interesting character. I love his character arc. And this is probably the most gritty film in the MCU. This is when the MCU was starting to they're trying to figure out the characters. They want to figure out the pieces to the puzzle. They wanted to know what works and what doesn't. This is when they were really experimental, and they took a big risk, I'd say, with Iron Man 1. And it turned out to be such a fantastic film, and arguably one of the best superhero films ever made. Plus, this film had to compete with the fucking Dark Knight when it came out.
That's true.
And even though a lot of people can agree that The Dark Knight is probably the better film of the two, Iron Man 1 is still fantastic in its own.
In its own right, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Gene, what's your favorite?
I think I know what it is, but
We probably all I have to say that Iron Man 1 is an amazing movie in its own right, but it's not my favorite because of one thing, and that's the villain. Obadiah's
Oh yeah, I can agree with that one.
Obadiah's Stane is not a good villain, and you guys know me. There has to be a good villain for me to be invested in this movie, and to me, the movie that had the best villain. Well, I don't want to say best villain in Phase 1, but I do want to say that favorite movie in Phase 1 for me is actually pretty underrated, and that's Captain America, the First Avenger.
Wow, I actually thought you were gonna say Thor.
No. Captain America, the First Avenger, to me, is my favorite MCU Phase 1
I really thought you were going to say Avengers.
No.
No, I knew he was not gonna say Avengers, but I was between Thor or Captain America 1.
I get it because Red Skull is such a memorable character.
It's Captain America 1 because, one, the relationship that Captain America and Bucky have is just... It's amazing. It's just amazing. Captain America's origin and how you can relate to Captain America's character, and I just see him as an inspiration and how a true superhero should be. I just saw it as a great hero's journey, aside from like Star Wars: A New Hope or just other movies that have great hero's journey premises. But I feel like Captain America is one of the best that a lot of people just don't talk about.
For me, like, I actually enjoy Captain America just fine. The First Avenger. My main issue is unironically the villain. I thought Red Skull was kind of goofy.
I also think that too, but aside from but if you want to compare him to like the other villains from Phase 1, I would have to say that he's like one of the best that actually like stood out. Other than Loki.
I was gonna say Loki is the one that probably stood out the most. The thing about Red Skull is that, like, I agree with the story of Steve Rogers is actually really done well in the First Avenger, and it's easily the thing. And especially with Endgame, I actually kind of appreciate the First Avenger a lot more than I did when it first came out. The thing is, like, it goes from like a really good hero's journey, and then like near the third act, it starts coming up like a kind of like a generic like action like film with a very really weird looking I almost said final boss, but antagonist with Red Skull. To me, like, Red Skull's role kind of went like it was a bit too much, and I don't hate it at all. This is when they were all experimenting, so I can't really bash on it, but I think it's decent. I think First Avenger was actually a pretty good film. Was actually a pretty decent film for its own time.
Yeah, but compared to like the other villains in the Phase 1,
I agree. None of the villains of the other ones don't really stand out. Like, especially like Incredible Hulk or Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I feel that like in the Phase 1, like Red Skull really stood out in its own way. With like his
and besides,
background.
it was like the first time that we saw an Infinity Stone.
Yeah,
as well.
Truth be told, I feel like I think the villains really started getting a lot better with Phase 3. Like, the other ones, like, it took a while for the villains to start actually becoming interesting. With the exception of, I guess, Loki, but even me, I'm not personally a big fan of Loki. But like, I feel like the Phase 3 is when like the villains started getting really well. But I agree, Captain America: The First Avenger I think is pretty decent to watch. I actually don't mind it at all.
I actually paid to watch it a second time in IMAX, so...
I saw it in theaters when it came out, too. And the second time I saw it was in Redbox, so I don't mind seeing it.
Yeah, but I actually went to IMAX to rewatch it, so it's like...
Don't be surprised if I end up doing that for The Rise of Skywalker, to be honest. After I set foot in that IMAX theater, like, I don't know, I kind of want to see a Star Wars film in there.
Well, alright, now...
Onto my personal least favorite phase, and it's Phase 2. And that's because of just the mediocrity of some of these movies.
It's true.
Yeah, they started out pretty bad with Iron Man 2 and...
No, Iron Man 2 is on...
Iron Man 2, it's Iron Man 3, which...
Except for one in the bunch that stood out from all the others.
Do you want to go first?
Eric, you go first.
Okay. We'll go Eric, me, and then Gene.
Sorry, I mean
that
YOLO.
stood out to me was Guardians of the Galaxy, bro.
Hey. It's not my favorite, but I really like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but
I really like it too.
I love
but
it.
like in the choosing between like all the ones that came out in Phase 2, Guardians of the Galaxy truly stood out from the bunch.
A lot of people like to bash. A lot of people like to like criticize Guardians of the Galaxy for having like such a generic plot, but I like to think that. But for me, it's like, okay, so what if the plot's generic? What about the characters? If either one of those characters sucked, Guardians of the Galaxy would have been like a failure, like Suicide Squad was. And to me, these characters were fucking great. They were the best things about the film.
And obviously, it's kind of a generic plot because it's basically an origin story.
Yeah, but generic stories don't mean bad. Like,
exactly.
What?
Normally, the most generic stories are sometimes the best movies.
Exactly.
Wise words from Gene.
Every life, so it's like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Exactly. And if anything, I feel like I personally think. I mean, actually, like I was gonna say, like I feel like they kind of made it better with Guardians 2, in my opinion. But the first one is still like a classic to me. Like I always rewatch Guardians of the Galaxy every now and then.
Oh yeah, totally.
So my favorite Phase 2 film, Guardians of the Galaxy is my second for sure, but my favorite is actually The Winter Soldier. I really wish it could have been Iron Man 3, but no. The Winter Soldier. The reason why I say that is because Iron Man's my favorite character, so it just kind of like, and here's the thing, Captain America to me, as good as the first Avenger was, to me he never resonated with me, like the character, until I saw The Winter Soldier. And The Winter Soldier was, wow, it was fucking great. Honestly,
it was fucking great.
One of the best superhero films I've ever seen. The best character dynamic of I guess before Endgame came out, the best the character dynamics out of all the films. Like I feel like this one really made me care about Captain America. I love his relationship with Bucky and Falcon. Basically, this film was just non-stop action with a very tight story. I just really enjoyed it. It's so entertaining, very well performed. Props to the Russo brothers that this is the first of the MCU films that they worked on, and as far as I'm aware of, like probably one of their earlier films that they actually worked on. And like, this is basically the same move that Disney made with Star Wars, except in this case it was done super well done.
And to be honest, like, I gotta give them props for the action sequence. Like, if you look at it from like a stuntman's perspective,
Yeah,
the action sequences were great.
they're so well done, and I've always like appreciated how consistent the Russo brothers are with the films that they've made. Like, almost all of them are so very well done.
Totally.
All right, Gene, the Sagittarius brother.
Come on, brother.
Well, Marcos, you were right.
I knew it.
We do have the same favorite Phase 2 film.
Gene, I know you like Captain America. The reason why I thought you would like Thor at first in Phase 1 because I remembered you spoke pretty highly on Thor 1 when we and I talked about the films way back when. But with the Winter Soldier, like I knew I had to really remind you that Civil War was Phase 3, and then I'm like, okay, now I know we have the same favorites.
And I'm like, yeah.
So, Gene, talk about the Winter Soldier for us, buddy.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier, like, you just took my words, Marcos. Best action sequences, the character dynamics were great, the villain, Bucky, was amazing.
I love this conflict with Bucky in this one. Like, it was very personal. I think the only thing that I don't really like about it is just, him meeting with Peggy, like, in the end.
I also have to say that this is the movie where I actually, like, loved Black Widow as well. Like, not to say that she's bad in the other films, but
she was alright.
In this film, she was great. Like, Captain America and Black Widow. And Falcon, I love Falcon in this movie, when in other movies I'm like, it's Falcon again, like, Ant-Man.
Yeah, Not just
Ant-Man, I
that.
don't really care about Falcon because it's a cameo, and I'm like, oh Jesus.
True.
Yeah, honestly, this is like the one film I really like Falcon in.
Like they gave Black Widow so much more depth with her relationship with Captain in Winter Soldier, which was very, very interesting to watch as a whole.
Definitely. To me, I didn't resonate with Black Widow till Endgame came out, actually. She was always been okay in my eyes. Never really like a character that I've been like super invested over. I think the reason why many people would probably like her in the Winter Soldier is because like she appears in this. She has a bigger role in the Winter Soldier than compared to the other ones. Like in Iron Man 2, she's just there, and in Avengers, she's just there. And the Winter Soldier, she's there like legitimately kicking ass.
Yeah, actually, I'm not.
But now on to Phase 3, the one that everybody agrees can possibly be the best of the three, but who knows? Eric, this is the toughest one yet, so
I know.
if you want, I'll give you the pleasure to give honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Okay, let's start with the honorable mentions, just like Black Mojo. To me, okay, honorable mentions. We can start with Civil War, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. I don't really want to say much about Black Panther. I don't care what the comment section is gonna say, but I did not like Black Panther that much.
I don't like it at all. And I saw it a second time on Netflix, and I'm like, why did I do this to myself?
Yeah, there was a reason I never saw it in theater. Not gonna say a lot about it.
So, your favorites of Phase 3?
And Infinity War.
Okay, very interesting. Might.
Again, you always see these superhero movies like, yeah, it's the same general plot as it is. It's like superhero, there's a struggle, they deal with the struggle, they win happily ever after. Boom, let's go get shawarma. This was like, this was like we legitimately lost.
Yeah, Infinity War. What a crazy roller coaster. I think I think anybody can describe it well that Infinity War is like going on a roller coaster, whilst Endgame is just like chilling in the theme park. I saw Infinity War. Infinity War was my first film that I got to see in the theater by myself, and it was a fucking blast.
Watching movies alone in the theater is actually pretty good.
I've been doing that ever since. Like after I saw Infinity War, like I've been seeing movies on the theater by myself, and honestly, I've been having a really good time with it. Yeah, I lost count of how many films I got to see in the theater, but yeah, spoilers. My favorite Phase 3 film was also Infinity War, but a slight big honorable mention would have to go to Endgame for almost the same reason. Like the thing is, Infinity War is a better film in my eyes because it's the most tense. All the characters are surprisingly utilized well. Like, you look at the poster of Infinity War, and it's like a nightmare for most critics because they're like, holy shit, we're going to be juggling with all those characters? Down. But it surprisingly worked really well. Every character is used properly. You kind of care for the stakes, of what everybody's going through. And then Thanos. Motherfucking Thanos. This is not an Avengers film in my eyes. This is a Thanos film.
Definitely.
Like, holy hell was Thanos such a good villain.
I love Thanos so much that I actually legitimately own a pop figure of Thanos carrying his big ass sword from Endgame.
Nice.
I love that motherfucker.
Definitely. Alright, Gene. I already know what your favorite is, so let's share with the world.
Share with the group.
Alright, guys, it's not Infinity War.
And it's not Endgame.
It's not any Avengers movie.
It's Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm joking.
No.
It's probably Doctor Strange.
No.
No, it isn't.
I don't know.
It's your boy, Captain America: Civil War.
he went on a Captain America streak, liking every single film. I have a strong opinion towards Civil War that I will get to after I hear Gene's opinion.
This movie, okay, for one, like, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and like a lot of people know it. I've watched every single Spider-Man movie. I don't even give a shit if it's garbage. I even saw Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the fucking theater twice.
Same.
No, I learned. My brain can only take it once.
And I Phantom Menaced that movie so hard. If you don't know what the term Phantom Menacing is, the term Phantom Menacing means wanting to love a movie, but knowing that something's wrong with it.
I didn't try. I fucking hated it when it came out.
It was another movie.
But enough talking about a movie that's off topic. Captain America: Civil War. I'm going to get to why I love it. I love Captain America: Civil War not because of Marvel, actually, but because of DC. Because at the time, there was also a game that DC made that was called Injustice.
Oh god.
And I
What?
was also
What?
Let him finish.
Let me finish. Okay. So I was fed up with the whole
Batman
heroes
versus Superman.
villains.
Okay.
So I wanted heroes versus heroes in a movie, and Captain America: Civil War. I mean, the Civil War comic touches on that, and that's like one of my favorite Marvel comics. Once they did it in a movie, I was completely blown away.
You were jizzing your pants.
Not that hard. Like, okay, number one, why it's one of the best, because it introduces Spider-Man, obviously.
I can agree with that.
Number two is it introduces Black Panther, obviously. And I argue that Black Panther in this movie is way better than in his own movie.
Yeah, that's something we all can agree with on.
Yeah.
So, number three is the dynamic between Captain America and Iron Man. Once Iron Man finds out that Bucky killed his family, shit hit the fan hard.
Totally.
It's basically Tony looked at him saying, "Oh, so you knew?
Hit the fan.
Well, I see where our friendship stands."
And that has to be. I saw that every YouTuber was making one marvelous scene, and I was like, "You're all talking straight up shit. I'm gonna tell you what marvelous scene it is for me. That scene, Captain America versus Iron Man.
Oh, for me.
Because they put
Sorry.
they put all their frustrations into that scene. Captain America is not only trying to save Bucky, but he's also trying to save all of the heroes because the government basically wants to fuck with them. Iron Man is the one that's with the government. And once Iron Man finds out that Bucky killed his family, he doesn't even give a shit about the Civil War. He's just caring about what happened to, revenge. In that point, like, to me, none of them are the villain. And in that fight, you care what happens to both of them. Because in a fight between a hero versus a villain, let's say Thor versus Loki, obviously you know Thor is going to win. Because it's Thor. But in this one, since it's called Captain America, it still has a sense of tension to here. Other than Infinity War, where they're fighting Thanos, this one they're fighting each other, and it has a lot more tension than, to me, all the other movies combined. Except for, like, Infinity War.
Like the awkward silence, and then he's like, "Oh shit, the comment section."
Because, like, obviously it's Thanos, but when you're comparing a movie that's not supposed to be hitting the box office to have, like, billions of dollars, then sure, you're going to have a biased opinion towards it that it's, like, one of the best movies ever. But when it doesn't have that, that billions of dollars all over the box office, then that's when you can make your own opinion and be like, okay, well, this is a great movie, and everybody thinks otherwise, but I think this is a great movie. To me, that's Captain America: Civil War.
So all we can say is, fuck you, comment section. We have our own opinion.
I want to talk a little bit about Civil War for a second. For me, I like it like really well, especially compared to the other one that came out the same year. Not Injustice. I was talking about Batman versus Superman.
No, I know. No, don't mention that.
Don't even start.
But yeah, what I like about Civil War is the fact that, you know, it gave a lot of characterization to Tony, of all people. It's a Captain America film, and it almost feels like a leftover Avenger film. I thought this is a film that genuinely does hold up really well. I mean, minus the what was Peggy's niece's name again? Sharon?
I don't fucking know.
I don't even remember. She was that memorable.
I was gonna say, unless we just exclude her, because now it doesn't even matter with how Endgame ended. Like, I thought the tension with Civil War is actually pretty interesting. But like I said, like, aside from all the shit you already said, Gene, like, I already liked Tony's characterization in this one. Arguably better than any of his movies. Pretty sad.
That just came to mind.
Yeah.
That since the way Endgame ended with, you know,
Yeah, you start to think that now. You're thinking that now.
Yes, Steve made out with Peggy's niece.
Thinking that now.
It just came to mind.
Thinking that now. It's like the first time that he went back in time and he was like, "Yep, he fucking kissed his niece."
That was. Yeah.
You're thinking that now. Like, the first time I saw that, I was like, watching Captain America: Civil War again, and I was like, yeah, he fucking kissed his niece.
And they.
You're not Captain America, you're Captain Alabama.
Oh my god.
That's disgusting.
That's like, well, she doesn't exist because she was never truly born. Because Peggy ended up with.
I mean, hold on. Like, I'm gonna tell you again. Like,
if you look into like actual like time travel ruling, whatever the fuck, there's no. Really
Yeah, but Endgame doesn't follow the Back to the Future rule.
Yeah, that's what I was.
That's
just
true.
Gonna say.
That's true.
Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit.
Exactly. So Back to the Future is bullshit.
But with the way Endgame ended, you could have, I'm not sure how I felt with how Endgame ended, because it turns out, like, Captain America was just there all along as an old man, like, not warning him about it.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, because...
Well, I mean, we might as well. The next topic is the ending of Phase 3.
Yeah,
or the Infinity Saga.
True.
So we could talk about old Stevie kissing his own niece all day.
My God.
Well,
he was like, what, 70-something by that time?
Well.
Alright, thing is,
He's the last airbender.
No, Endgame to me was an amazing movie. But once they put time travel in the aspect, I feel like that was kind of lazy because they wanted to fix their own.
Let me point something out. Mr. Sagittarius' brother over here says that Mortal Kombat 11 handled the time traveling thing better than Endgame.
Way better. Way better. I stand by that.
Repeat that again?
Gene says that Mortal Kombat 11 you handled time travel better than Endgame.
Oh, I can't speak about that.
Way better because, okay, for one, you don't want to confuse your audience with just one thing, and that's just gonna open a whole can of worms. So once
Worms?
Avengers
Or worms?
Yeah, worms. That's what I said.
Worms.
So
Derek's like.
So once the thing with time travel, once they put time travel into a story, and nevertheless making that part of the story a full hour, then to me that's just lazy. Like, you want to. Oh, so Thanos destroys the stones,
He used the stones to destroy the stones.
So, what are you gonna do now? Oh, let's get the stones. Let's get them. Let's go to the back in time.
The only thing I did not like about the time... Actually, there's two things I don't like about the time travel. There was one... Of course, the rules just doesn't make any fucking sense. Even to this day, I never really processed what the fuck the time traveling thing works. Especially with how Endgame ended with old Stevie. I'm like, huh? I thought he went back to his time from a different time period, not in the same time period. And not only that, but they confirmed a lot of things, which granted I know it's not really like a rule to like learn from outside sources, but when the Russos themselves confirmed that everyone that dusted are specifically in the Soul Stone, including Gamora, I thought the entire plot was gonna be that they were just gonna get the gauntlet to get everyone back, but instead they destroyed the gauntlets. And so how does the snapping work? Do they have to think, let's bring everyone back and then it works? I thought the snapping was just specifically to decimates. How does the gauntlet work?
That's kind of how they explained it when they did it. That's like.
But like my issue, like it's not a big issue I have with it. But like I'm just find it weird how they went out of their way to confirm that everyone was in the Soul Stone, only to destroy the Soul Stone.
I don't know. Like to me, they should have fought Thanos like their Thanos.
In my opinion, Captain Marvel should have killed Thanos.
Instead of going for the head?
No. 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 Don't even repeat that again. No. No. I'm just gonna keep saying no.
To me, Endgame falls in the same category that I always find. You can give me a convoluted story, or a story that makes no sense, or I'll say it, a shitty story. But if the characters are done really well, I'm gonna enjoy it. It's like just fine, and I feel like Endgame succeeded on that like tremendously. I thought this was the best character study out of all the films in the MCU. And to me, like, it really handles them all just perfectly. Every single one of them that didn't get decimated was used properly, and used in ways that I just find it to be really entertaining. I like that Iron Man and Captain America got to travel together because they got to travel back to the Avengers. The incident of the Avengers, and then they went further back into the 70s. And honestly, I just thought that was pretty interesting. I love the conversation that Tony had with his own father. Like, to me, that's my favorite scene in the whole film at the moment. I'm debating whether I want that as my Marvelous scene or the party scene from Age of Ultron, because, once again, I just like the way they handle the characters. But yeah, I really enjoyed Endgame. I saw that film 6 times in the theater, and I have no regret.
Oh, I enjoy Endgame. It's just like the whole.
The time traveling thing does not make sense. I agree.
The time traveling thing, like,
yeah, it's kind of confusing.
That part I don't really care about. Like, it's cool. It's fan servicey in a way, but
this is why I prefer Back to the Future.
To me, like the best part was the third act when they're fighting, obviously, but it started slow. The middle was super slow. Like, the middle, I can just skip it because I know what's going to happen. They're going to get all the stones and come back. But the
emotion.
I don't want to skip. The emotion. But yeah, that's it. Like, to me, Infinity War is a much better movie.
Definitely.
Totally agree.
And now, technically, this is what ended the Infinity Saga, but I like to think that Spider-Man Far From Home was like the epilogue of Phase 3, I guess you can say. So, what did you... Epilogue is like the ending, buddy.
Prologue.
Shut the fuck up.
Prologue.
What did you guys think of Far From Home?
I liked it a lot, to be honest.
I really enjoyed it, and I saw it twice. And I heard people didn't really like it to the same extent they didn't like Homecoming. But, like, I saw it a second time, and I actually thought it was just as enjoyable as it was the first time. And I'd say it was much better than Homecoming.
I loved Far From Home.
I definitely really enjoyed.
I loved Far From Home, but...
Oh god, here comes this faggot with the word but. Ruining everyone's fun, goddammit. Go watch Civil War and Thor.
Alright. Listen to this. I saw Far From Home 3 times. And I have to say that...
And I have to say, because I'm more knowledgeable than these two...
Wait. The way that they handled Spider-Man's consequences and how he was supposed to be relatable, because in this movie, to me, he's not how he should be. Because Spider-Man has always been this...
An opinion? That's different?
But, no, listen. Okay. So, what's the big consequence that Spider-Man... The big thing that Spider-Man does?
Tries to kill someone in the bus.
No, he gives the glasses.
Oh, the glass? Yeah.
He gives the Edith glasses to Jake Gyllenhaal.
Quentin.
Why the fuck would you give the glasses that are obviously yours, that are
Really?
obviously belong to you?
Really? Giving glasses is more, like, of a shame than almost sending a missile to a bully? In a school bus?
Done that. Like,
That you and your friends are in?
Dude,
alright,
who
look.
would do that? He was threatening to take his...
He sent a missile to the bus he's in!
Yeah.
2!
Who cares?
But
2 missiles!
oh, so what? You're still giving the technology that Tony Stark handed to you to
Before he died...
a complete stranger that you met like 2 days ago.
Kind of. 2 days ago. Because it was like 2 days ago for like an hour.
That is...
Time flies. What can I say?
That's just stupid. Like, that... I have to say it. That's just stupid. You're giving the glasses to a complete stranger that you completely trust because you're so... And they make... I don't want to say it, but they made Spider-Man into a bitch in this movie.
I had a feeling you were
Like,
gonna
I love Spider-Man, but they made him into a bitch. If the whole point is to make Spider-Man into a man, Spider-Man, he's still fucking Spider-Boy in my eyes.
Yeah, I feel that they could have done that sequence where he hands over the glasses very different instead of handing them over, and because you know the scene is like a simulation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to bash Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland is a really good Spider-Man. He's one of the
No,
best
he's
in my
great.
opinion. But
Best Spider-Man.
But to me, it was the direction that they put Spider-Man in this movie.
Yeah.
Because for one, Peter, you have everything in the palm of your hands. Like, Mary Jane likes you. Fucking, you have the Edith glasses with you. Tony Stark gave you a fucking fortune. What bad things are happening to you? You're just making them worse for you yourself. You're making things worse for you. What you're given is a good...
The thing, I can actually... No, I can...
You're given a blessing.
The thing is, I feel like the perspective on Peter is just the fact that he wants to live like a normal life, but then he has like this huge responsibility around him. Like, you know, like you said, like he had an entire plan that he wanted to do with the school field trip. You know, sit next to Mary Jane, get a fucking necklace, you go to wherever the fuck, you know, get married, have kids, die, the end. But
You're getting way ahead of yourself.
and then Nick Fury comes around and he's like, "Bitch, you've been to space. We need your help. Here, go kill some elementals and stuff." Like, the thing is, like, oh, and well, to be fair, the post-credit scene with Nick Fury being the fucking green guys from Captain Marvel, like, really? I think that was the only time I really went really in the theater. Why? To me, I understand why Peter did all that. I'm not justifying if it's good or not, because that can be a big debate from here. But to me, like, because he wants to live a normal life, he knows he can't really... He knows he has to be Tony Stark's successor, but he feels like he's not really worth a dime. Like, he's not really worth that succession. It wasn't until basically he loses everything that he realizes, yeah, no, Tony never made a mistake picking you as his successor, basically. That's like the whole point. It's like you never know what you have until it's gone, basically.
And that's a good premise to follow, but the thing is that are his thoughts really justified?
Maybe.
Compared to like what he went through in Infinity War and Endgame, and when Tony Stark died, the Edith glasses are given to him. Because in Homecoming he was given him the Iron Spider suit. That when he rejects that, that's obvious. Like that's okay. But once you're given Tony Stark's fortune through his glasses, then that's
a lot of power too for a boy like him.
But you give them to somebody else. One thing is rejected.
The thing is, like Mysterio played a really good job deceiving Peter Parker into believing that he was a good superhero. I mean, granted, we now know that he was a fake, and pretty much everyone in the audience that at least know who Mysterio is pretty much saw him as a villain from a mile away. The thing is that, like, he deceived him, basically. He proved to be a superhero that was just as good as an Avenger, so much so that he projected a threat that was Avengers-level terrifying. And with no other superhero, like, around, they had to count someone they had to get, basically, a second Avengers team again. And in Peter's case, he went through Infinity War, he dusted, and he could have, like, succeeded in Tony. But that's a lot of pressure to succeed Tony, is a thing. I think the reason why he thinks he needed to find another successor that's more responsible is, well, that basically. Someone more responsible, someone more capable of defending the entire planet better, because he feels like he doesn't see that in himself. Keep in mind that Spider-Man is still a kid. Like, he's still a teenager. He's still trying to figure out what he wants to do for the world.
To me, it's still not justified to give, like, Tony Stark's prized possession to a complete stranger that you met, like, 2 days ago.
I mean, again, like, that can be a debate on its own, but I feel like it can actually be justified. But at the end, it's still proven to not be a good decision anyway, so it's like...
But to me, compared to, like, other Spider-Man movies, for example, Spider-Man 2, where he's given shit. Like, in Spider-Man 2, he's given a shit sandwich, and he has to deal with that. In a scene that, to me, is one of the best scenes ever in a movie, is where he asks himself, when can I have what I want, what I need? Like, he's given shit after shit after shit that he just can't take it anymore, and he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. That speaks more volumes than giving the prized possession than giving the Edith glasses to a complete stranger where you're just going to get them back. And another thing, the love interest, Mary Jane, she likes him. In Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, she likes him, but she rejects him because she's getting married. She's getting married to an astronaut. Mary Jane's doing much better for herself, but Peter loves her, but he knows that he can't be with her. In this case, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he wants to be with Spider-Man. I mean, he wants to be with Mary Jane.
That's disgusting. And very egotistical, okay, Spidey.
He wants to be with Mary Jane. Mary Jane likes him back. So there's no struggle there. To me, there's no struggle there. They both like each other. And she did a stupid thing, like, she's lying to him that she doesn't like him because she's nervous. I get it. Yeah. But you still like her. Where in other movies, it was a struggle for Peter to get his love interest and to actually get good grades. In this one, he gets fucking good grades. In the other one, he can't even do good in school, which is something that I can relate to and is, to me, what Spider-Man should be to the core. This one is just given everything. He's given a love interest. He takes it. He's given every opportunity that he takes, which of who wouldn't take it? But to me, like, where's the there's no trial and there's no trial to go through. Like he's given everything that it's not even satisfying. It's just, oh, okay, thanks.
Okay.
That's true. I agree.
Once again, like, this entire thing could be like a big debate, and if I ever rewatch Spider-Man 2, like, we can probably like talk about this like some other time more in depth. But overall, like, I think we all still enjoyed the film, like, but acknowledge that it has its issues.
Now, you could have heard me saying all that shit, and you could have said, well, you don't love Far From Home, you fucking hate it. No,
That doesn't even sound like hatred. I mean, have you seen this boy rant about The Last Jedi?
About all of its flaws, like, I still love Far From Home because Tom Holland did a great performance. Yeah, obviously I love Spider-Man, but the truth about why I loved Far From Home was Mysterio. Mysterio was amazing. I loved Mysterio. He was the best thing about the movie, to the point where I was even rooting for Mysterio. I was like, no, keep the glasses, man!
Yeah, in reality, like, I
honestly, part of me really wished it was a good guy. He was a good guy.
Because I could have related more to Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio than to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because he was working for Tony Stark. He made the technology that Tony was using.
Which is that was a really good scene too. Like, calling back to Civil War and Iron Man 1, that was really fucking good.
And then Tony calls his work barf. He calls it barf. He calls it shit right in front of him, and then he fires him. He throws him out.
Mm-hmm. And his whole team.
That is justified. That's unnecessary evil in my eyes.
He and his whole team were getting revenge for what.
Who wouldn't be pissed?
Exactly.
Who wouldn't be pissed? Who wouldn't want to take revenge out on Tony Stark?
Yeah, and honestly, like, I knew about Quentin Beck from before this movie, and like, I was shocked. Like, in reality, I was taken by surprise where he was like, no, I am not an intergalactic being from like the second dimension, blah blah.
Yeah. Even though Far From Home is a really, really great Spider-Man movie, to me it's still no better than Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2.
Definitely. I still think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is still my favorite Spider-Man film today.
Oh,
those two movies are the best Spider-Man movies in my eyes.
Oh my god, yes.
I really want a sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, like, now.
Yeah, because in Into the Spider-Verse, even Miles can't get the girl. He's trying to do the shoulder touch. Shoulder touch doesn't work. He feels embarrassed. He's feeling everything. Like, he feels embarrassed. He feels
not only that, but Gwen Stacy doesn't want friends either.
Yeah, but think about it. At the end of the movie, that you kind of notice that they kind of both like each other.
That's why I want to see. That's why I want a sequel. I really want a sequel, because that's one thing I want to see.
That's why I love Miles more in this movie than in Far From Home, because.
Oh yeah, Gene, you had a theory.
We'll do this after. We'll talk about that after. But Miles, the one thing I love about Miles in this movie is that he also shows insecurity towards doing, because you can see his insecurity when he can't control his powers. And to me, that's just amazing. Where in Far From Home, he's showing insecurity towards where he's with Mary Jane. But it's where he's showing insecurity in the wrong places, because obviously Mary Jane also likes him. So, and like, come on. Like, how am I gonna fucking believe that nobody's gonna like Tom Holland in high school?
Yeah.
Like, seriously?
Basically.
Like, he's a physically fit dude. He's funny. He's charming. Like, what the fuck?
Pretty much, if you've seen like any like conventions, like that, you know, any what's the word?
Like, at this point, I feel like girls want Jesus in the fucking movie.
But I was gonna say that like pretty much any convention that like Tom Holland is in, like you see a lot of fangirls going for him anyway. There was one panel that he did with Sam Wilson and Bucky's actors, and like God,
Sebastian Stan?
Yeah,
Sebastian Stan, yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
But anyways, the dude's no Jason Momoa, but you get the picture.
No, but you get the gist.
Yeah, like the boy has his ladies.
Yeah, and I remember the theory that everyone was like, "Oh, he's dating Zendaya." Like
What?
Maybe. like everybody.
yeah, he's dating the Mary Jane.
Yeah, I know. I heard that a while back.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
No, he's not. But everyone thought they were.
But like I heard that like when Homecoming came out, and I feel like that was the reason why they're paired up in this one.
Yeah.
Because like they didn't show any romantic interest in Homecoming.
No, I think that was the point.
Yeah. Gene, your theory.
Well, right now we're gonna talk about Phase 4.
Oh, okay. So you want to put that at the very? You want to go that after Phase 4 or after? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Phase 4's films have been announced, and in my honest opinion, I'm. I don't know. I'm only really excited for Doctor Strange, if I have to really be honest.
Blade.
Oh, right.
Well, to me, Phase 4 is kind of like a disappointment because although I'm still gonna
This is becoming the Gene show.
although I'm still gonna watch Marvel movies, obviously, like Phase 4 to me was more of a disappointment because like all of these characters, like nobody really gives a shit about. Like
I'm definitely gonna watch Shang-Chi because you basically told me that it's gonna be a Liu Kang. It's gonna be a Liu Kang movie, so I mean.
Shang-Chi, like.
Yeah, I don't even know who the hell that guy is.
Whatever.
Nobody knows, but you know, if it's a martial arts Chinese warrior, it's basically a Liu Kang movie. So, my money.
Honestly, for that reason, I'll just watch the Mortal Kombat movie that they're actually making.
Yeah, but that's coming out in 2021. Then James Wan is directing. James Wan is directing it, and I'm not really sure how I feel about that, in my honest opinion.
James Wan's directing Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Wait. We're getting sidetracked.
It caught Gene's attention, and he's like, wait, no, Marvel.
Alright.
It's the Gene show, everyone.
Black Widow, we're obviously going to watch.
Yeah.
But again, like, we already know what happens to her. She dies in Endgame. And since this is a prequel, like, I already know what happens to her. There's no point into watching this movie because she's obviously going to beat Taskmaster. But
in reality, this is all just for the fan service.
Yeah.
This, like, in my eyes, they should have put Black Widow where Captain Marvel should have been. I mean, where Captain Marvel is now.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, why don't you just substitute Captain Marvel with Black Widow, because Captain Marvel played an insignificant role in Endgame.
Yeah, they should have put Black Widow. They should have put the Black Widow movie where and Captain Marvel introduced her in Phase 4. But, whatever. I don't work for Marvel.
You're not Kevin Feige, so shut up.
Who gives a fuck?
We're not part of the team for the Russo.
The other one...
He's not Kevin Feige. So shut the fuck up.
Is Shang-Chi, which... Okay, like... Why not Iron Fist then? Or Daredevil? Or fucking Jessica Jones?
What's his name? Adam?
Luke Cage. Or why not introduce the Fantastic Four? Or
X-Men.
The X-Men. Like, you're putting insignificant characters all in the name of representation.
They're trying to do the same thing they did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm not gonna watch this. Then the other movies are the Eternals, which okay. Like
Again, they're just doing the same thing they did with Guardians. Like they're taking like an obscure like franchise and then trying to make them into household names.
But didn't they try to do the Eternals into like a TV show and it failed?
No, that was Inhumans.
I was gonna say.
It still failed since that's how memorable it is.
But anyways, the only person that really gives me attention towards Eternals is Angelina Jolie. But again, like the whole cast, there's nothing in particular that I would watch. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was introduced as the first horror movie in Marvel. So
I am interested in that because within the group I'm the horror buff.
I'm just interested because, you know, Scarlet Witch is coming back there, and I'm just really curious to know what they're going to do with these new characters. Like, when you have, like, returning characters that I didn't really expect to see coming back, it piques my interest. And plus, I enjoyed the original. I enjoyed Doctor Strange just fine, so I'm just really curious to see how much trippy shit it gets into this one.
and then the one that has most plot that I don't like this at all. Thor: Love and Thunder.
That's the one I'm easily the least excited for.
I don't know how to feel about it.
No, Thor. I can tell you, Thor is one of my favorite characters in Marvel.
Yeah, it's to me he started becoming a favorite when Thor Ragnarok came out.
When you gender swap a character that is obviously male, that just opens a whole can of.
Not only that, but with Natalie Portman, a person who literally did not contribute jack shit to the franchise. Like, she only showed up in 2 films, and then she pretty much disappeared from the Thor franchise. We got a much better female character in Valkyrie, who is apparently a lesbian now. So, that's something.
Oh, and also, just to say, Valkyrie's a lesbian, right?
Yes.
The title's called Love and Thunder.
Motherfucker. God damn it.
And she's going who's Thor, Eric?
Yeah, I understand, but that's how much I care about it.
Representation.
And you know what, Gene, and also, like, I think I wanted to bring this up because we were talking about this, but remember when we were talking about, like, we can debate that Phase 1 could, like, you know how Phase 3 just pretty much has the better films, but you could kind of argue that Phase 1 has, like, more, like, respect to it because Phase 3 and onwards seems to be focusing on diversity.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry that you wouldn't want to go in depth in that.
Wait, I didn't really hear you cut off.
Do you remember when we were talking about, you know, how Phase 3 is technically the most superior phase of the 3, but like some people have pointed out that, you know, they have more respect to say like to movies like from Phase 1, for instance, because they were more experimental and they were trying to like tell a story, whereas Phase 3 and what Phase 4 seems to be doing is trying to show diversity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, like, that's what I was going to bring up if you wanted to go in depth with that.
Well, to me, Phase 3 is not really showing anything for diversity, other than Black Panther.
Yeah.
That's just really being stupid because, like, if what you're expecting from Black Panther is a whole bunch of white dudes, then you're stupid. Like, don't hate on a movie just because of diversity. Like, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
You can still give it like its own. You can still taste it, if you know what I mean.
And it tastes like salt.
And I'm not saying that Black Panther is shit. Like, Black Panther is really good in my opinion, and it's actually really good.
Did not like it.
But not because of T'Challa. because of Killmonger.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. But that kind of furthers the point that Phase 3 just has like really good villains. But like, oh god, I just never really resonated with any of the characters in Black Panther, other than Killmonger, I guess. But like, none of them stood out in my opinion.
For me is more the diversity phase, because you have the Eternals where they explained that they were gender swapping male characters and turning them all into females.
Okay.
You have Thor: Love and Thunder, that you have Thor, a male character, and his name is fucking Thor. His name is Thor. It's not a mantle.
It's Natalie Thorman.
It's his name.
Yeah, but they did that in the comic.
Even though they did it in the comic, it's still not justified because Thor's a name. It's not a mantle. Like,
true, I can't really explain much because I
Thor,
haven't read the female.
Like, the mantle is more God of Thunder than Thor. Like, if you want to, if you wanted to make like Jane Foster the God of Thunder, then you would have to explain to me why she's the God of Thunder. But if you're turning her into Thor, like, she's taken Mjolnir, she has more strength than him. Thor's not worthy now. Jane's worthy. Then you have to explain to me why Jane's worthy.
Without being completely disrespectful to the source material as well, because if we're gonna still have Fat Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder, then that's just gonna be like a huge disservice to Thor.
Yeah, and more so than Thor.
Because I wasn't a big fan of like Fat Thor in Endgame to this day, but like I feel like if they use that as a justified reason why he's not worthy anymore, even though they showed it in the film, like I think that would be just completely disrespectful, and I'd actually hate the film more than Thor 1 and 2.
Yeah, and you would have to explain to me why Jane Foster's more worthy than Thor. Because if Thor's fat and he didn't do shit in the 5-year gap of Endgame, he was playing Fortnite and eating pizza, and he still was worthy.
He might be playing Apex Legends though.
69.
So, explain to me why he's not worthy. Because he's not gay? That doesn't explain anything to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have any problem with, gay representation in movies. I don't really care because I still can watch like a gay movie.
I mean, I was gonna say there's a perfect example.
Rocket Man, and that was great.
I was gonna say, like, when it comes to gay representation, I have to point out that Stranger Things 3 actually handled that really well. So, like, I'm on board with it if done really well.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna spoil on what. But
for me, I'm all for it. Like, I don't really care. But once it's injected into a character, like, for example, like Spider-Man.
Like, do you remember the whole shtick with Lando being pansexual? Like, no one wants an established character to go through that.
Yeah, because that's the kind of representation that I don't. That's the thing. Like, making characters that, for one, Lando's a womanizer. So why make him a pansexual? Like, he's obviously interested in Leia. Why make him like robots in this one? I just don't get it.
Not to mention with the way he treated droids in fucking Empire Strikes Back. Like, I don't see him fucking with them after seeing that movie.
Yeah,
definitely.
The same for me with Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, how are you gonna make Jane Foster gay if that's what you want? Like, sure, you can explain that she's bisexual, but that's just gonna be lazy.
I mean, I don't even know they're even gonna go with that direction. I just need to know what justifies her as to become Thor's successor or Thor.
I'm not saying that I don't like it. I'm just saying that to me it's just disrespectful because I see it as a hand-me-down. I see it as, oh, you want this character to be gay? Okay, we'll turn him gay. Whatever. There you go. Throw him there. He's gay. Yeah, like, that's a hand-me-down. Like, that's not good at all. What I prefer is to have a new character that has those traits, and I can actually get behind that character. But when it's just a hand-me-down, that's just disrespectful.
Totally. I feel that they just can't replace Thor like that, specifically with Chris Hemsworth's fucking contract. His contract, I think it's like
to be fair, it ended with Endgame, but like because they left his open kind of end, like they left his ending open. They decided that they were going to work with him on something, and I thought he was going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But
which is possible.
I hope, because I would love to see Thor in Guardians 3, but the fact that they haven't confirmed it, well, I mean, it is confirmed, but they haven't announced it in Phase 4, and James Gunn is still working on the Suicide Squad movie, so he's going to work on that film first, and then Guardians 3. And Thor Love and Thunder is probably going to come out beforehand, so I don't really know. So unless they make Guardians 3 take place before Thor Love and Thunder, maybe. But Chris Hemsworth's contract ended the same one as Robert Downey Jr.'s and Chris Evans. And technically Chris Evans actually ended in Infinity War, not with Endgame, actually.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just depends on how they use Chris Hemsworth, really. Which I feel like is going to be really disappointing.
I don't know. I feel like they can't just like kill him.
No, they're not going to kill him.
For her to take the mantle. So I don't really know how the hell they're going to like transition them.
Only time will tell, my dear friends. So that leads us to the next one.
Blade.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm interested in Blade.
Yeah, man. Whatever the hell his name is,
Mahershala Ali, bro.
I'm sorry, I'm not good with names, specifically his name. Mahershala Ali, whatever. He's a great actor. I personally saw him in freaking Alita Battle Angel. He was amazing. So I know acting wise, it's the role of Blade is in good hands.
I mean, you just said Alita Battle Angel. I'm just kind of a little bit worried about that.
Dude, did you even see that movie?
Like, I was not impressed with the trailer. I mean, I was gonna see it in Redbox, but I don't know.
I saw it in Redbox, and the trailer does not give it justice.
Wait, what movie?
Alita Battle Angel.
Alita's great.
See? Okay. Thank you. The trailer doesn't give Alita justice. The movie's actually really, really, really well done.
It's a manga adaptation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an actual good, you could call it anime movie.
It's a good adaptation, would be the right thing to say.
Yes.
But aside from all those movies were announced, that doesn't mean that those are all the Phase 4 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we obviously have Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, whatever the third Spider-Man film that we'll have, like, hopefully that comes sooner than later.
Yep, Spider-Man 3. And hopefully this movie's rumored, Moon Knight.
I feel that could be good. I've had a lot of interest in Moon Knight for a while.
I don't know who's Moon Knight.
He's basically Marvel's equivalent to Batman.
I had a feeling one of you was gonna say Marvel Batman, based on the name Moon Knight, and then they better not say Marvel's Batman.
No, like Marcos, legit Google Moon Knight, and you're gonna be, this is Batman.
It is. It's Marvel's equivalent to Batman.
Like Google Moon Knight, and you're gonna be, oh
my god.
Yeah.
But based on, have you read his story arc?
Alright. I'm gonna tell you one thing. I don't know shit about Moon Knight other than he appeared on Spider-Man Web of Shadows, okay? Like, that's how I was introduced to Moon Knight. Yeah, man, I was introduced to Moon Knight in a Spider-Man video game.
I did not know he was
Web of Shadow?
The game was
Web of Shadows, he was in that game.
Web of Shadows was not that bad of a game.
Actually, it's one of the best Spider-Man games.
Exactly. Cricket, to me, personal favorite, always gonna be Spider-Man 2.
I feel like the comment section is just gonna be, like, filled with hate.
Why?
Like, me saying Far From Home is, like...
You saying Far From Home is flaws, you saying you don't know shit about Moon Knight, or, like...
That I don't know shit about Moon Knight.
Oh yeah, we don't know shit about Moon Knight.
I don't read comic books. We're all fake Marvel fans. We're only riding the hype trains of the MCU. Like,
people are actually gonna like Thor: Love and Thunder.
Blah.
Eternals.
And then the Alita Battle Angel haters. It's like, the manga was better.
Well, I can say I haven't read the manga, so fuck you.
Then you're just a fake Alita Battle Angel fan. You fucking fag.
I don't really give a shit. I can say that I don't really give a shit.
Exactly.
So,
I don't really give a shit. As a movie, because that's the only thing I've watched, I haven't read them. But as a movie, it was really good.
So this leads us to like the last topic at the moment before we get to Gene's theory. Will the MCU be the same? Fuck no.
No.
Tony's
dead.
The MCU was the MCU was like a film. It started with a bunch of okay, sorry, you guys couldn't hear me. But like the MCU like started off like with experimenting with different superheroes, giving them a story arc, and then basically leading up to Thanos. They were all trying to flesh out the characters, and Thanos was like the final boss of this fucking like show basically. The MCU is almost equivalent of a really long TV show, so I mean, like, what are you going to do after Thanos? And especially if they're going to set up a different Avengers, I don't know what they're going to do with... No, if they set up with a different Avengers, I'm not sure how they're going to even top Thanos.
I don't know, because they might lead up to, like, what is essentially called the New Avengers, so I'm not sure.
Eric, leave that to me, boy. Okay.
Oh my fucking god. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, forgot. This isn't the Slutcast, it's the Gene Show.
This is the Gene Show, so I'm going to shut the fuck up now.
Yep. In fact, you know what? I'm deleting my channel.
Wait. All right. So, to me, the MCU could be the same, but different, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Motherfucker. That's our thing.
Same, but different. I just want to know the comment section for technology.
The thing is, like, with characters, it's obviously going to be different, but with overall premise and with overall storytelling, it's obviously going to be the same. Like, it's going to be the same, but in terms of characters, obviously it's going to be different because we don't have Captain America, we don't have Iron Man.
There's going to be some part of me when I watch these films, there's some part of me that's going to be thinking, man, I miss the old Avengers. It's just not the same.
And we also forgot to talk about the Disney Plus TV shows, which I don't really care about.
Yeah, but I care about it now because it's going to have Clone Wars in it.
Seriously?
Well, that's Disney Plus, not MCU.
Oh, oops. I was thinking of Disney Plus. And yeah, Eric, it's going to be Clone Wars is going to be in Disney Plus.
I already have Hulu. Does having Hulu basically automatically give you Disney?
No.
Good try.
Fuck you, Disney.
I'll give you a star for effort. An A for effort.
That's so stupid. They bought Hulu.
Well,
that sounds like a personal problem.
But anyways, in terms of characters, it's going to be different, but in terms of storytelling and direction and the overall progression,
maybe tone-wise too,
and tone, it's still going to be the same. If not, I think the humor's going to spike up a little bit more because of, like, the Guardian and the Eternals. They're going to turn it into, I think, a fucking space sitcom or something.
Seriously?
I don't know. It could be Space Seinfeld. I know.
Oh god! Don't you mention that to me. That sounds like the worst combination ever.
But
Space and Seinfeld? Are you fucking kidding me?
But yeah, I think it's gonna be the same in terms of direction because we obviously have Kevin Feige as producer, and I don't see any difference. But
That's better than having Kathleen Kennedy.
But it's gonna be different as in terms of characters and with what they want to tell, like with the message that they want to give us.
Okay. Wise words from the man Gene himself.
Hey.
This is
The Gene Show. God
damn it.
I'll give you a theme song one of these days, Gene. Oh my god. See, I love that already. I already got that. That's season 1's theme song. Alright, but before we end the Slutcast, Gene, you had a theory with Spider-Man.
Alright, guys, this is a theory that I talked about with Marcos. Eric still hasn't heard it yet, but
I know nothing.
Fasten your seatbelts then, boy. It's gonna get rough.
Let's break it down a little bit. So, Eric, you remember Donald Glover, right, from Homecoming, right?
I love that angle.
Well, he was a character known as Uncle Aaron.
I know this theory. I think I know what you mean.
Who's Uncle Aaron?
Miles' uncle.
He's
Miles' uncle. Okay, so what happened in the MCU that really changed history forever? Their history,
The snap.
not ours.
The decimation.
The snap.
The snap? Okay.
Also known as the decimation.
Who's to know that Miles died in the snap?
Huh.
Interesting.
What if Miles didn't die in the snap and spent 5 years going through high school, going through all of that? And it's 2023. Like, Miles could be the same age or a little bit younger than Peter Parker. But just a little bit because he could also be in high school with Peter.
Yeah.
So, what if in Spider-Man 3, they introduce Miles, and he won't have his powers yet, but they just introduce him as a new friend of Peter Parker.
I feel that would be extremely extreme.
Now, one of the villains for the Sinister Six, I feel like instead of the Green Goblin, they could do the Hobgoblin. And one of the secret identities for the Hobgoblin is
Uncle Aaron?
Is Ned.
What?
What?
Yeah, one of the secret identities for Hobgoblin, Ned Leeds, his friend.
Like, as a villain?
Yes.
Oh shit.
What?
Is that like it's like the same parallel with Harry being Peter's best friend, and he's also like the new Goblin.
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing, but like I just didn't picture Ned to be in that same role.
Why? Because he's fat, Marcos?
I mean, I don't judge. Hey, even if I did say yes, it's not because it's not about racism. It's about body weight. I don't know. I just never.
Hey, watch yourself.
Truth be told, like for me, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even see Harry like in the suit either until Spider-Man 3 came out, or at least after the ending of Spider-Man 2. Like I didn't think he was gonna take over the new Goblin. And when I saw him in Spider-Man 3, I was genuinely surprised. And honestly, he was one of the more interesting things about that movie.
But anyways, if they want to introduce the Sinister Six, I think that's a good way to make Ned into a whatever. Then if they want to put Hobgoblin to be whoever they want.
But there needs to be a justified reason for it, because at least with Harry in the Sam Raimi trilogy, it's because he killed his father.
Yeah.
Or really he killed himself by accident, but all this time he thought Spider-Man killed him, and when he found out that Spider-Man was Peter, then yeah, that's when he antagonized Peter. And in the Amazing Spider-Man's case, it's because he has what was it, the Osborn disease.
Don't even mention that.
The Osborn disease. That was it.
And in that way, they could introduce Miles as the new friend of Peter Parker. And I would say that in another Spider-Man movie, he gets his powers. Peter is his mentor. And that's when they introduce the new Avengers, because Iron Man, Tony's daughter, could be around a little bit older.
Yeah.
So
Ironheart, was that be the female Iron Man?
Yeah. Ironheart. But
Okay.
the thing is, that would piss a lot of people too, because they could call it as whitewashing, because Ironheart in the comics is actually
a black girl. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just Googled her, and yeah.
So
That's
they
true.
could call it whitewashing.
Because
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
people are stupid.
So that's how they introduced the new Avengers with.
I mean, granted, isn't that the same? I mean, not that I like the live-action Disney remakes, but aren't people complaining about the same thing that they're doing with Ariel, making her black basically, or having a black actress playing Ariel as opposed to a white actress?
Yeah. Probably. Most likely.
I mean, I'm more pissed about James Bond right now.
Same.
I don't really care about Ariel.
What happened to James Bond?
Google it.
Okay.
No, I don't care.
Google it.
Say
Google
it.
it. Don't say it. Google it. Google it, Marcos. Google it. I want you to see it for yourself.
She's a bald black woman.
Wait.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm not racist, but that's what she is.
What?
James Bond. Bond.
Her name's not gonna be Jane Bond, but she's literally what they're doing is that title you have in 007 is not yours anymore. So get the fuck out of here. She's getting the new title.
Like this just
Well, this escalated quickly.
MCU sweatcast, guys.
Don't worry, I'll put in the title plus GoldenEye, plus some James Bond shit.
Plus some James Bond stuff.
But yeah. Well, is that all you have to say, Gene, for Spider-Man?
Yeah, just.
Well, okay
I'm pretty
then.
sure that everybody has that theory.
Okay, well, now it's recorded in the Slutcast, and you can call it the Gene theory.
Gene theory.
I don't want to.
All right. Well, anyway, guys.
Copyright.
True.
But if anybody takes it, I swear I'll copyright your asses.
Oh shit.
Because it's the Gene theory.
And it's legal. YouTube can back us up.
So, Matt Pat, if you're watching this,
fuck off.
for you, boy.
All right, guys. Well, this was a very fun Slutcast. I had a great time talking about Marvel and talking shit about the new James Bond shit that's going on. It's been a lot of fun, but hang tight. We'll have another Slutcast sometime in the future. When we do, we'll be coming back.
It will not take 10 years.
Hopefully, too. Maybe Gene will be in fucking Japan when we do it.
Probably.
But anyways, thank you all for watching and tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next Slutcast.
Alright,
Later,
guys.
sluts.
Goodbye, good night, and farewell.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna be a Soul Calibur YouTuber. Later, sluts.